A single teacup in Windsor next week could redraw the royal pecking order. Will you spot the power shift before it hits the headlines? Every crown needs reinforcements when illness strikes the sovereign, and Britain's faith in that safety net hovers at a precarious 52%. Can one Duchess steady the dial? Buckingham aides still talk about the moment in February when King Charles III's cancer diagnosis bled into the court circular and emptied half the diary. Within hours, no public fuss, no extra aides. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, accepted 4 pending engagements and asked for more. The family's quiet reserve had stepped forward. Insiders say the king slid a handwritten thank you across his desk, 3 words only: "Your country counts." Could that note mark the start of a new center of gravity? Teacups quiver in the best salons. Sophie's proving ground came in late May on the mist-torn Inner Hebrides, where she and Prince Edward trekked between island crofts, asking about diesel prices and school ferries. Local councillors were startled when the Duchess quoted last quarter's lobster export figures from memory and suggested a maritime microgrant. Was this a royal or a minister in pearls? Island broadband installers filmed her checking latency on a parish laptop. TikTok views cleared 1 million in 24 hours, dwarfing any official government reel. The Atlantic wind carried rumors of a promotion. Like what protocol rarely shows. Tap subscribe. Your click keeps our spotlight trained on palace pivots. Monday brings the real test. Buckingham Palace confirms Sophie will preside solo over an honouring women of distinction tea at Windsor's 16-room Castle Hotel, opposite the fortress where William the Conqueror raised mot and power. 50 trailblazing guests, quantum engineers, flood defence volunteers, a Grammy-winning conductor will file past in daylight. No protective tag team beside the Duchess, she stands alone. Stage lights glare hardest without shared halos. Aide briefings show she plans 0 script cards, only bullet prompts and a promise to mention the late Queen's 1947 pledge of lifelong service. Audience analysts predict applause spikes. Pollster Kantar finds 58% of Britons recognise Sophie's photo today, up from 31% a year ago, the sharpest image gain for any Windsor since Catherine's 2011 debut. Treasury notes a side benefit. Each fully delegated engagement saves roughly £14,000 in travel security once shared convoys shrink to 1 car. Even shadows carry spreadsheets now. According to palace insiders, the Duchess rehearses until midnight, refusing podium autocues because stories sound unscripted. Her speech will cite Ada Lovelace, Emmeline Pankhurst, and the 2.1 million British women running firms in 2025. Will she add a dig at the stubborn 9% FTSE female CEO rate? Courtiers wonder if an improvised zinger could race beyond the hotel and reboot the equal pay bill stalled in committee since Easter. Ears tilt from Downing Street to TikTok. Sophie's road to Windsor started years back. She left a PR agency in 1999 to marry the Queen's youngest son, survived tabloid stings, then rebooted as the family's quiet closer, flying where headlines fear to tread. Her 2023 trip to war-ripped Kiev, first Windsor to enter Ukraine since the invasion, delivered 43 tons of hospital kits, plus a UN speech on conflict-related sexual violence. Courage sows credibility. Like, share, and keep watching. The next twist lands 4 paragraphs from now. Data point at the 800-word mark. Government Hospitality Unit valued Sophie's humanitarian visits at £36 million of soft power media reach last fiscal year, rivaling a mid-table FCDO trade mission. YouGov's June tracker lists her favourability at +33, tied with and 10 points above the Duke of Sussex. Pollsters call it the loyalty dividend. Historian Dr. Sarah Beckett notes the last consort to climb that fast was Queen Mary during wartime factory tours in 1915. Momentum matters. History repeats on Fast Forward. The secret weapon label first surfaced in The Spectator after Kiev. Friends insist she dislikes the term, yet staff observe she logs 18-hour days without complaint, fueled by filter coffee and a cavalry officer's grit. Rumour suggests the king will recognise her this autumn with the Royal Victorian chain, a decoration last granted to the late Philip. Will the announcement coincide with a new overseas mission? Rewards rarely leak devoid of motive. 3 weeks ago, Sophie spent 90 minutes with the Defence Medical Rehabilitation Centre in Nottinghamshire, chatting 9 amputee veterans through virtual reality therapy. One soldier joked she beat his physiotherapist at VR fencing. The Duchess laughed, then asked to see the budget shortfall line by line. Ex-Treasury observers call that audit empathy. Within 7 days, a £720,000 Armed Forces Covenant grant filled the gap. Ministers credited senior royal visibility. Action outpaces ribbon cutting. King Charles's health has accelerated the delegation revolution. Where the late Queen delegated sparingly, the current monarch issues weekly duty schedules dividing 132 annual patron visits among 10 core royals. Sophie accepted 27 of them, second only to Princess Anne, and 7 more than William, who is balancing early years advocacy with Prince of Wales obligations. Workload tells its own succession tale. A short breath of tension. Buckingham's financials show staff costs rose 5.2% last year despite fewer overseas tours. Palace accountants cite cancer-related rescheduling. Privately, they cheer Sophie's knack for single-handed trips. One royal jet becomes an 18-seat RAF envoy, saving £42,000 per leg. Pro-monarchy lobbyists call the Duchess budget-friendly gravitas. Republicans retort that private flights remain private flights. Whose narrative lands? Debate prowls committee corridors. Monday's Windsor lineup hides a sleeper item, a 19-year-old AI prodigy who built flood sensors from discarded phones. Sources say Sophie will announce a small grant on the spot, mirroring the Queen's Trust microfunds from the 1980s, nostalgia packaged in quantum code. Such off-script giving delights headline writers but unsettles protocol hawks. Can spontaneity live within centuries-old scaffolding? The crystal chandelier might tremble. 3 info paragraphs, time for an emotional punch. One misplaced line in Windsor could crown a folk hero or trigger a new rules review. Back to the tapestry. Castle Hotel staff have installed discreet baffles to muffle traffic. Windsor Guildhall clock will pause chiming for 40 minutes. Veteran royal photographer Chris Jackson requested a raised platform to capture Sophie's handshake with an aerospace engineer who led Europe's lunar drill test. Image syndication rights already optioned by 3 textbooks and a sports brand. If monarchy is a story, today's frame may anchor a chapter. The lens hunts for unscripted grace. Data refresh at 1,600 words. National Center for Social Research notes a 7-point rise this quarter in approval for working royals who champion STEM. Meanwhile, Ipsos finds public concern about royal expenses dropped 4 points after Palace released Sophie's slim travel report. Finance Secretary Adrienne Clark says soft power only counts if hard copies show value. Accountability is the new ermine. Spreadsheets whisper to scepters. According to Palace insiders, William quietly phoned Sophie after big solo gigs to compare notes on mental health briefing techniques. Rivalry yields to teamwork. Catherine, recovering from surgery, reportedly calls the Duchess our stealth sister, praising her ability to land policy details with a smile. Could a Windsor trio be quietly scripting a 2030 blueprint? Leaner balcony, tougher metrics, louder outreach. Future hinges on private huddles. Short emotional beat. The monarchy's survival may rest more on Excel tabs than on crowns of gold. Sophie's family balance remains delicate. Lady Louise, now 21, studies English Lit at St Andrews. Viscount 7, 17, just aced his A-levels. Friends say the Duchess plots schedules like battle orders, color-coding days. W4 Windsor duty, M4 mother mode. Can any calendar contain a nation's expectations? Juggling grenades in velvet gloves. Castle Hotel has baked elderflower and lemon sponges, the late Queen's favorite, but kept them off the official menu to avoid overshadowing honorees. Florists chose peonies, not royal lilies, ensuring the room's only symbolism is resilience and renewal. Small details, giant signals. Observers count such moves as evidence Sophie understands modern optics. Humility sells better than heraldry. Sometimes less lace means more loyalty. We near the finale. Cue second like subscribe nudge. If this dive keeps you ahead of Palace currents, hit that button. Next alert may drop while Windsor's chandeliers still glisten. Monday 3 p.m. A single bell will ring, doors will part, and Sophie will cross the threshold alone. We will watch for quivers in her notes, sparks in guests' eyes, and whether a Duchess can turn afternoon tea into a manifesto for half the population. Next episode we unpack every unscripted moment, track the social media spike, and reveal which new duty the king hands his secret weapon. Stay tuned, the Crown's balance sheet is still writing its sequel.